Ice goes off on Danny from the stop.
Streets want to know why Chiggs got the interview and Big Danny didn't
Because
get
I
it.
don't fuck with Danny.
They
That's
was
why.
asking me
That's
earlier.
why. Straight answer.
I
Straight
didn't
answer.
hear.
Because I don't fuck with Danny.
He said what he said.
Oh, Dan,
You,
did you
you
catch the
heard that,
whole?
That's
Streets?
exactly. Hey, Danny, I hope you were here clipping it up too. I don't rock with you at all. Just like I said in the initial comment that I left on your page, what popped all of this off. I think what you did was a sucker move. And had you approached me the correct way, I would have done an interview with you. You didn't do it. You did some sucker move, and I'll forever look at you as a sucker from that point on. And after that,
Don DeMarco.
and after that, Danny himself has been emailing me, rest in peace, Hovain, when Hovain was managing me. Yo, sending a picture of the comment. Yo, it's me. This is what I said. I would love to do that interview with you. No, that ship has sailed, fam. You are a sucker. I would never.
You Joe Budden?
I would never do that interview with you. So when Hovain reached out to me and said, "Yo, dogs, he really want to do it," I said, "Yo, tax him, make him pay for it. If he want to do it, make him pay."
So when you say he did some sucker shit to you,
Yes, involving my name. That I didn't know who dude was. I don't knock nobody that do whatever they do to get their money. You involve my name in it, and you started making up stuff that was completely false on my name. And it got back to me through people tagging me on Twitter like, "Yo, this dude is saying this." I'm like, who y'all talking about? So they sending me the link to the YouTube, and I clicked it and watched it. I'm like, damn, this dude couldn't be further off from what he's saying with like such. He's saying it like it's a fact. You couldn't be further off. But if you don't know, you could have just asked me. Like everybody that I speak to, a lot of people in this pod fan space thing is new to Ice. But those who know Ice from just following me on Twitter and all of that other stuff, I interact with anybody. So dude could have just asked me and I would have answered for him. I talk to people. I don't care if you got no followers. I don't care if you're a fake page. I don't be paying attention to that. If it's just something that's not disrespectful and you just talking to me, I'll talk back. So I felt the way he went about putting my name in his mess was sucker. And that's why I left that comment saying, "Yo, dog, this was a sucker move. You could have just asked me." Hey, I'm the easiest person to talk to. I don't gotta know you. When we first got on the pod, I was the first one to go over there and do an AMA with Reddit. I didn't know none of them. Dude just reached out and said, "Yo, we've been trying to get the old members. Nobody wanted to do it. Would you be interested in doing an AMA over here?" No problem. Let's do it. Because they went about it the right way. He didn't do that. So he's forever viewed in my eyes as a sucker. That's why his videos don't bother me now. Like I know, he knows I don't rock with him. He jumped in one of my caffeine joints, said his name. This Danny from the stop. I said, "So, all right," and then he left. Like I don't rock with you. I don't respect it. Get your money however you do. Whatever you got to do. You report on everything on us. You want to create narratives. You want to do all of that. That's fine. But I'm not helping you at all.
You
nah,
finished in this
he
town.
been hating hard since your Chiggs interview.
No,
He
he's
been
been
hating
no. That's
extra
that's
hard.
not true. That's not true. He's been hating hard since I dubbed him when he asked me for that interview. That's when he's been hating hard. I watched the switch up, bro. I've seen it. I knew that was gonna happen with the Chiggs interview. But see, I rocked with Chiggs for years. I never met him. I didn't even know this dude was from my old hood. Like ever since Joe, when you was back doing music and we was on Ustream and all of that, and you would see Chig's name pop up in the joint. Like I've been familiar with dude, and he went about it the right way.
Chiggs was around for the Ustream
Yes,
days.
Chiggs was around, bro. Chiggs was around.
Oh yeah, it's over for Danny.
So I was just like,
So
I gotta tell y'all, man, you know how big of a dad you gotta be to piss Ice off. Like Ice is a nice guy.
but I'm not pissed off. That's the thing. I'm not. I understand. See, I'll be looking at this stuff with an eye that a lot of people can't really see, because I used to be a troll. So I understand it a lot more. I get what you're doing. I get it. It's just like, dog, from somebody that used to do it, and I'm watching you do it. I'm trying to tell you that there's a better way you could have done it and got
Yeah,
more out of
he
it.
does it like in a real beginner type
Yes,
of
it's
fashion.
trolling 101. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
there's a better way to do this, and take it, take your content, take everything to another level. There's a better way to do it. But the way you doing it, cool. All you're gonna make is enemies. Enjoy it.
That's right. On the recent Twitter space, Ice and Joe Budden went off on this platform and let me have it. I mean, they were talking crazy about me, talking about how I'm amateur and I do a lot of stuff wrong. But I think what I really wanted to talk about is this whole Ice tirade. He was big mad, and there was a lot revealed about the dynamic me and him have had over the last 2 years. For those of you that don't know, I started this channel 2 years ago. And the idea behind it was just to break down the breakup between Rory, Mal, and Joe. However, I realized that there was tension between all members of the podcast at any given moment. So I started to break that down. And I realized there was a need for people to keep up with the show and not have to listen to hours and hours worth of content. So that's why I created the platform. Well, over time, many people were not able to hear the conversation that Ice, Joe, and all of these other guys were having online in Clubhouse type forums like Reddit Talks and Twitter Spaces. So one day when I was listening, Ice decided to talk about his contract with Joe Budden on a Reddit Talk.
I don't own anything with the Joe Budden podcast.
Eventually, I was like, let me post it on YouTube. And the video went crazy. It got thousands of views on a channel that was really, really small. And I believe this is why Ice has been mad ever since. But there's a lot more to this story that you need to stay tuned for in order to really grasp what Ice is truly mad at. Now, in this video, what I do is play the clip from the Reddit talk where Ice talks about not wanting ownership and equity and all of that other jazz. Well, in the video that I made, I play the clip and then start to theorize about maybe Ice wanting ownership in the future, just not at the current moment.
Now, if I'm thinking about if they want equity, that is the big question that I have. How do we know that's not going to change? What if that happens to Ice and Ish? What if after 2-3 years of doing 20 hours of podding a week, they're like, I want equity?
Well, Ice got so upset that he decided to leave this comment right here. And the comment was pretty benign. But now he's talking about how I did something sucker. Overall, I think Ice is trying to change the narrative because I revealed that he tried to charge me $1,000 for an interview. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. Because I truly don't know what I did wrong. And whatever was sucker was just me pontificating and saying that Ice doesn't want ownership, but he might want ownership one day. So after I make that video, there seems to be a big controversy. I have people hitting me up, telling me that Joe Budden is mad that Ice gave me any attention with the comment and was even talking about the contract. There's even people that hit me up and tell me that Ice was willing to sit down with me. So I reached out to his manager at the time, Hovain, RIP Hovain, and asked if he's interested in an interview. You can see the email here. I think I'm being pretty professional. But after I send that email, it immediately becomes clear that something fishy is going on, as they asked to charge me $1,000. But I couldn't ask about the Rory and Mal breakup, I couldn't ask about the tension on the current pod, and I couldn't ask about Sue Surf, which I did not plan about asking anyway. But this immediately revealed to me that there was a fishy play going on. And judging by the interview that Ice recently did with Shigs, that was $1,000 well saved, as I don't think Ice is just a good interview subject, and all of the money and all of the stuff that you get from interviewing Ice really isn't worth it. That isn't a shot, but you gotta remember, this is August of 2022, long before my channel gains any action or traction, and I realized that an Ice interview isn't worth anything. But at the time, I thought an Ice interview might be worth something. However, he added all these stipulations, and the value of the Ice interview went completely out the window. Recently, Joe's been on Twitter Spaces insinuating that I switched up on Ice because he rejected the interview. Well, that isn't necessarily the case. I always thought Ice was terrible, and he remains the worst podcaster to ever join Joe Budden on the podcast. Marty's better, Mo's better, Kino's better, Imani's better. There's nobody who has done a co-host gig with Joe Budden that was as bad as Ice. And now I see an attempt by Ice to try to downplay my critiques in order to try to make me seem crazy, in order to dismiss my actual critiques, which I have always provided valid insights. I felt like I've always provided real facts about why ice is bad. I mean, there was a story he told about receiving a gift and how it made him emotional. Then Joe asked him what was the gift, and then I said, I'm not going to talk about that. Why would you even bring that up on air? And Joe Budden and Imani have confronted Ice about his lack of sharing, his half-stepping, the way he's using the platform. So it's not just me saying this. A lot of people are saying this. And I ask you, dear listeners, if Ice left the show, would you really miss him? For example, look at the Dr. Umar interview. Did anybody say, oh man, I wish Ice was here? You didn't. And I think it's time we have an honest conversation, as Joe Budden is walking on eggshells around Ice. And I have to reiterate that I don't care about an Ice interview. Like Big Loon, shout out to Big Loon, once said, you get more money talking about these people than you do talking to these people. And yes, an exclusive interview can really help your platform if it's done in good faith. If it's not done in good faith and they don't want to give it up, or they giving you one-word answers, then it's not worth $1,000. And like I said before, this was a setup. Ice was going to give me one-word answers. He was going to play me. And then the storyline would have been, I got Danny to pay $1,000 and I didn't even have to say anything. I saw the play, Ice. You're not as clever as you think. It was a half-step. You're a chronic half-stepper. And all of the attempts by people to humble me or get me to see things their way are gonna fail. Joe Budden just recently published a picture of me from 2009. I'm getting under these people's skin in ways that they cannot imagine. Listen to this clip of these dudes talking about how, they gave me too much energy.
Why do you give Danny so much energy? I'm just curious.
Please answer it. I want to hear you answer that, because I've asked, how many times I asked you this? Let's keep it a buck. Like, they can know. I've asked you all the time why you give, but you gave me an answer, and I told you a long time ago, I don't doubt I don't doubt your brain. Like, you know what you're doing more than any of us.
But
So,
wait, but before, see, because we're going to tell the truth tonight, especially if Rory's not going to pop up. I got to be messy another way. Listen, before I gave you an answer,
mhm,
what was my conversation as it pertained to this gentleman?
that basically is my
Come
fault.
on.
That's what you said.
And then
You said,
after you, because we got you to cool down, it was who?
oh yeah,
Come on.
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
come on.
But that one
So,
didn't know.
Hey Danny, congratulations on launching your YouTube channel.
That one did not know what they were doing at all. That was some trickery right there.
okay.
That was some trickery in that person's defense. They were completely
cool.
oblivious to how they were being used.
Okay, cool. But the person with experience, and then when you got down, the people with experience, sometimes it's real easy to just listen to the people that have experience. You don't have to know. And that went on for how long would you say before I put any energy into this gentleman?
No. Energy as in directly naming this gentleman, but you've made references to that gentleman a lot prior to that. Like,
well,
I mean, the references were made to where that particular gentleman knew, and those who were paying attention knew who you were talking about.
but so those references came in my story after you, gentleman B, and then Flip.
You can invite
You're not outside. Where are you from? Puerto Rico? Or you Dominican or Puerto Rican?
I'm from wherever you want me to be, Flip.
Had created a whole wave of runway for this nigga. That's
Correct.
my story.
I take part in mine. I said it. Like, I wasn't familiar with him. That, and to this date, that's the only comment I've ever left on YouTube. I don't do that. But it was sent to me so many times that I just wanted to tell dude that you went about that the wrong way. I didn't think in 1,000 years he would do what he did with that, and I salute that. Hey, if that's what you're trying to do, you did it. It worked. You got a reaction, a response, which basically solidifies you, whether it be good or bad. It's like, all right, I said enough to where somebody had to comment.
But why I give it energy is twofold. One is promo. Two, I love a good narrative.
See, and that's where we always differ. So I can't say nothing to that.
This is a perfect illustration of why I was able to gain traction. It wasn't because of what I did or how I did it. It was because of how much dedication I showed to it. I am not afraid to say I'm a better content creator than Ice. I work harder. I think about what I'm going to say before I'm going to say it. I edit my own videos. So that's why I never have a problem talking to Ice about content, because I really feel like I'm better in every way. And so has everyone who's joined the podcast. Matter of fact, I truly believe Joe published that picture of me because I was on the Twitter space and I was going to war with everybody. So he wanted to knock me down and put a picture of me, not in my best light. I was making a skit. I was making that face because I was trying to do a funny face. And if I look like Goldberg, I look like Goldberg. Why I gotta be ashamed of looking like Goldberg? Are we really gonna act like the people who I talk about are anyone's supermodel? Come on, dog. That was really weird for Joe Budden to do. And I know a lot of you Joe Budden fans are probably happy. A lot of y'all are probably like, Danny, you deserved it. But the truth is, I never made fun of how anyone looked. I've always made fun of how they podcasted. And trust me, making fun of how Ice podcasts is really easy to do. So if you think I've been mean-spirited and I deserve that, then by all means, I think Joe kind of displayed the level of corniness that he tries to act like he's better than. But I can call it out. Now, I wanted to end this by saying that I don't think Ice is a bad person. I think he's a bad podcaster. And I want to illustrate to Ice, listen, here's the thing. You saying I trash you because you didn't want to do the interview is just you copping out because you don't want to listen to what I actually have to say. Flip threatened to pull up to my job. I'm not saying he's a trash podcaster. Imani alluded to knowing what I look like. Knowing the type of glasses that I wear. Knowing my haircut. I'm not saying Imani's a trash podcaster. But I do talk about them in other ways. I do say that I think Imani's adding a whole new vibe that's challenging-ish. I do say that ever since Flip has resigned, Joe Budden's been trashing him. Trying to big bro him. But we'll get into that in another video. I'm not done with you, Flip. So, Ice, man, please stop trying to get all righteously indignant, talk about sucker this, sucker that. You was cool with it a couple weeks ago.
Danny probably, hold on real quick. Danny's probably in here. I don't have no beef with Danny. I think, and I told him, I left a comment on his page. I think that was kind of whack, what he did. And I'm one of the most easiest people to talk to. My comment says the exact same thing. Yo, dogs, you went about that the wrong way. All you had to do was reach out. I'd have did a whole in-depth interview with you if that's what you wanted. But you did that the wrong way. Salute. And that was it. And then from that moment on, he reached out. He started hitting my manager. He started emailing me. He started going crazy trying to contact.
I said I appreciate what you're saying, but
okay.
I've heard the story many times.
Not too much on. Yeah, okay.
And I don't want to give him nothing, honestly.
Wait, we don't fuck with Danny. Danny cool.
No. He's
shut up,
he's
Jay.
all right.
We all gas, no breaks over here. We all gas.
No. You mad that $1,000 interview thing came out? You thought that was gonna stay secret, and deep down in places people don't want to talk about, in that studio you visit every day, people know you don't carry nothing. It's all love. I'm just talking about how you podcast, and how you podcast. I don't know if you deserve to be on the top podcasts currently in the game. And I wanted to end by saying, he doesn't think you're a good podcaster. He's simply walking on eggshells and avoiding tough conversations. You didn't get better as a podder. They just gave you an iPad. When he cuts you off, it's because he doesn't think you can carry segments. He didn't bring in Flip because he needed to change up. He brought him in because you are a show killer. Every new person who joins the show is better. What happened to that caffeine stream you used to do? It's been a while, buddy. Also, you ain't potting, you half-stepping, pod skills ain't matching up, lack of work ethic is catching up. Hit with the flip mode, they changed up your pod, everything was all good just a week ago. About to start twitching, ain't you? Ready to start streaming, ain't you? I forgive you, content just ain't you? Aside from the salary, honeys that show up to the pods, you know you wouldn't be involved. Alright, y'all, that's my video for today. I had to address this because I got a whole new type of energy these past few weeks from people feeling offended. And don't even get me started on those threes out there. There's a lot of threes out there acting like they sixes on a good day. This is inside ball. You might not know what I'm talking about, but you know, you threes gotta be respectful. You Allen Iversons better act right. I don't want to go there. I really don't want to go there. Alright, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I got more content coming. And this video might really make some people upset. It's kind of scary. It's scary season, y'all. Follow me on Twitter to Stop TV. We got a guest coming on the Twitter real soon. And a lot is going on in content world. 2024 is here. Shout out to those that made it. Shout out to those that didn't make it. Shout out to those that started the channel and stopped after 5 videos because they ain't gained no traction. Shout out to those people who say they don't want to be the biggest potter in the Joe-verse but always be on the Joe Budden community chats. Shout out to the people saying that they're going to start their platform but never do because secretly they know they're afraid of the feedback they're going to get that they cannot confront, so they pass judgment on other content creators. Shout out to all y'all. But most importantly, shout out to the stoppers. Shout out to the haters of this channel. Shout out to the Newport Mafia. All of you are welcome here. This is a home away from the pod. This is a home for y'all. I welcome you with open arms. With arms wide open. You mean a lot to me. And I think it's reflected how much you mean to me in the content that I make. And the way I comment back to you all. Sometimes I be mean to people, but most of the time that's only to people who were mean to me. I don't have to be nice to you if you are mean to me. Alright, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't be fooled by the blogs that I got. I'm still Danny from the Stop.